Oh, I'm sorry, I have to scan that. Okay. Did you know that despite media claims that we are winning the war on cancer, we actually are not? According to Clifton Leaf's TED Talk, that's titled, How Do We Change the War on Cancer? Cancer rates have actually grown approximately 3 times faster than the population. That's a huge amount, and we need to talk about why is the media saying this if it's not true. So 3 of my paternal family members have died of brain cancer, and that's a very scary thought for me because what if my immediate family members have the same thing? And according to the World Health Organization, cancer cases are expected to surge 57% worldwide in the next 20 years. I know I plan on being around in 20 years, and I'm sure you all do too. So this is an important topic to talk about. So we are not winning the war against cancer. And one of the reasons why we are not winning is because a decline in death rates doesn't necessarily mean that that the burden of cancer is lessened. And Clifton Leaf in his TED Talk talks about how the burden of cancer, or the burden of any disease really, beyond death rates, is the emotional, financial, spiritual impact that having cancer, the impact that it has on the person, the family, and society. So just because there's a decline in the death rates, does that necessarily mean that the burden is lessened? And that is no, it doesn't. So, CNN.com also listed an article that said that the report notes that the rocketing cost of responding to the cancer burden in 2010, the economic cost of the disease worldwide was estimated at $1.16 trillion. That is a lot of money, and if you think about that, rich countries are able to somewhat handle that burden, but developing countries are not able to. And so what does that mean then for the health care for those, the population of the developing countries that have cancer? What kind of care are they able to receive, and what kind of care are they not able to receive? There are other factors that are preventing us from winning the war on cancer, and they are an aging population and lifestyle choices. Clifton Leaf in his TED Talk gave an interesting example, and he used Florida and Texas as 2 examples. In Florida, they have approximately 18 million people in their state, and they have 40,000 people that have died from cancer. And then in Texas, there's 24 million people in their population, and 36,000 people have died from cancer in Texas. And you would think, oh, Texas must have a, well, it shows we have a higher population and lower death rate of cancer. Why is that? It's not necessarily that Texas is healthier. It's that we have less people that are 65 and over. And 25% of the cases of cancer that are recorded happen between the ages of 65 and 74. So older age is one of the risks. And he says, Clifton Leaf says, the process of aging is so intricately woven with the process of cancer. The accumulation of genetic defect over time is so intricately woven with the process of cancer that with each day, more of our cells divide, and with each of those episodes, there's a chance for mishap, a genetic mishap. Maybe years from now, for decades from now, with other mishaps, that can set the stage for an invasive cancer. And that leads me to lifestyle choices and why it's so important to start young and having healthy lifestyle choices. So, and those lifestyle choices are smoking, alcohol, diet, physical exercise, prevention screenings, and vaccines for infection-triggered cancer. So for tobacco, 1.6 million cases of cancer are tobacco related, and that is something that is easy to fix just by stopping smoking. But it's not just smoking, it's also chewing tobacco related. And being overweight can lead to cancers of the esophagus, breast, endometrium, and kidney. And then infectious cancers that are brought on by infections are examples of if you have HPV. They now have an HPV virus that you can, HPV vaccine that you can receive that will limit your chances to develop HPV, which could lead to cervical cancer. So now that we know that healthy behavior is the best way to control cancer, we know that there are more ways to win the war on cancer. There are more ways to win the war on cancer besides just the death. Let me start over again. There is more to winning the war on cancer than just death rates. There are also other factors such as health-related diseases and the aging population. So it's important to start prevention early so that later on in life, cancer will not be a burden in your life.